Hi. I don't know if you've there's a petition going around that for us to sign for the NEC to be named after Mary Seacole, and I've been asked to do another video in relation to one that I did early. I think it was Sunday, about the lack of representation last week in the NHS Club for the NHS campaign, which was totally whitewashed because I've seen images on it on Facebook, and all I saw was just white faces of white people. It was quite astonishing because I don't know which healthcare trust has seems to have just white people, you know. And I reiterated Gina Yeshere's she did a video on it, and I talk about it, but it's coincidentally tied in with my comparison of Mary Seacole and Florence Nightingale, and the lack of acknowledgement of the work of Mary Seacole, the contribution she made into the to healthcare, and also in the history book. When you study the history of medicine, Florence Nightingale, as far as I remember, was, is featured and mentioned in it, but no Mary Seacole. And so this petition, I think, is important to support. We're all at home. Most of us are at home isolating, but most of us, there's not one person who does not know somebody who works for NHS, be it black, white, or whatever background you come from. And be it black, white, you should support the fact that these two women contributed to the history of medicine in the UK, and they both deserve to be acknowledged. I've researched this morning, and you see it says something about Mary C. She was a rival to Florence Nightingale. I don't really see how she was a rival. I think the both women worked. It's just history that wants to do that. Anybody who doesn't know the background of Mary Seacole, she's of Jamaican descent, as Jamaican and Scottish descent. She was a dual heritage mixed race woman who must have had phenomenal courage and strength. She traveled across the Caribbean, and she ended up in England. And the Nursing Times, as I've got here, talks about this, and also talk about her Mary inspired thousands of women and people of color to dedicate their lives to the NHS. She's admired for her care of wounded soldiers and knowledge of Creole herbal remedies to relieve symptoms of infection such as cholera. And this petition is being organized by the gentleman who's behind the Windrush campaign. I think is Vernon Patrick, or Patrick Vernon Patrick, and I think he deserves us to circulate it. There's a lot of videos that are going off, with this COVID thing, and it can be quite irritating when you get it. You don't want to watch it, but please, I will post a link to this, and when you get it, please forward it to your friends. It takes a few minutes to put in your details and to reopen your email so you can submit it. Sunday I talked about the first doctor who had lost his life on the front line, who was Adil El Tayer, and since then 3 others have joined him. We have Arthur Saidu, Habib Zaid, Zaidi, and Ahmed El Harouni. These are all the Al Jazeera talks about the United Kingdom is paying tribute to the first doctors on the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic who have died after contracting the COVID-19. All 4 men, they come from the Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. And I spoke about the importance of acknowledging these men, I clap a million times for them, because they have been, they've come from retirement, and they have, honored us with their lives, and it's important. But because the history of Britain and of the West suffers from amnesia and omits the struggles of all the efforts that other people have contributed to building the economy of England and the economy of elsewhere, particularly in America, we need to acknowledge this. Do you understand me? We don't want 50 years down the road and we're going to get a history of people who fought and it's been whitewashed. The reason why it will be whitewashed is those images that NHS chose to use during the Clap for the NHS campaign is what the historians are going to put in the books. And that's going to kind of look like, what happened to the other people. Do you understand me? We don't want this to happen because we are aware of so many people who have been in the struggle of contributing to England as a whole, when you look at the Windrush generation. But the reason why this omission seems to occur frequently is because of shame. It's because of the way that England treats its people, the people who help build England, people who contribute to England, So we want to fight for this campaign. This is not racializing anything. This is about two women who deserve to be honored, who deserve to be acknowledged, and we honor Florence Nightingale as much as we honor Mary Seacole, and we want to see that. I would advocate for Mary Seacole to be included in the history of GCSE medicine as well, because it's all good to name the NEC after her, but I don't know what's going to happen to the NEC after, what's going to happen to us, but it is important to include that. But when you look at the struggle of when you look at the discrimination and the struggle that minority doctors face, I googled this morning, and millions of money have been put into fighting for the discrimination. If you Google NHS and minority, all you get is discrimination and all sorts of things, which is disgusting. But I thought about thinking about these doctors who have lost their lives and the struggles that they would have triumph to become doctors. Some may have been trained, be fully doctors back in their home countries, but they come here. Sometimes they have to lower themselves, get a job as much as a cleaner to retrain, to become a doctor again, or the struggle that they would have gone through. Not everybody's coming from rich background. Some would have walked from the village to get to where they are. These are men who are prominent in their own community as well, because these are treasures in their community back home. Do you understand me? And they have dedicated their lives to the NHS, and they deserve to be, to be honoured. So whilst this fight goes on, it would be nice to see that happen. So please, if you see this petition, forward it to your friends, and please stay safe and stay blessed. Take care.